Brilliant.
Hey, good evening. It's Sunday, 7:30, and I'm back. It's what are we on? Season 3, episode. Did I say 36, Charlie? I think I did before I come on. See, I repeat it out. So I remember. So, thanks for joining me, guys. If you're watching this, we're filming this live on Facebook, but if you happen to listen to this on the podcast or YouTube at a later date, then don't forget to subscribe. And then that way you'll keep updated on any interviews, any more mindset stuff I got coming out. So tonight we are talking about overthinking with Asperges. I've got a great guest back on for the second time, Charlie Moorhouse, and you're you trained at Cheltenham martial arts with us as well.
Yeah.
It's kickboxing, because that's how I got to know you.
Yes.
So tonight we're going to talk about how you cope with overthinking. We're going to talk about Asperges, and you've had quite a good chat with your mum, so you're going to kind of share some about how that maybe how your mum had to deal with finding out how to deal with the Asperges that you have and yourself. But I gotta say, I have been really excited for tonight, Charlie, because the last interview, the first one we did, I got so much from that, and there were just little snippets that I learned. I think you got, and I said to you off camera, you got a lot of wisdom there. You got 22 or nearly 22, so nearly 22, right? Nearly 22. I think you got a lot of wise words, and what I got from it last time is that I remember you saying something like, it's a part of you. This is Asperges, and you've just learned to ask the right questions on how to deal and cope with that. And it was something that I've taken away since, I don't know if I said you a minute ago, but I took that away. And there's, we've all got our strengths and we've all got our weaknesses. And I've kept that with me now. And even talking with my children, so, well, that's a part of you. So we just got to, make a way to, deal with that. So thank you for that.
It's fine.
But anyway, so we're going to kick things off. So we're going to talk a little bit. So you're 22. And we're not just talking about Asperges. You was diagnosed with Asperges. How old were you?
4 to 5. About 4 or 5 when I was. Well, it's kind of interesting. So, basically, I was about 4 or 5 when the signs were first spotted about me, pretty much. So this was back in nursery when I was just, being a normal kid, whatever. And basically what would happen is the teachers at the nursery, they would notice that I was being a little bit different to the other kids, pretty much. So they would then say to my mum at the time, we think Charlie's showing signs of autism, pretty much. And so it just went from there, really. So from that, we got referred to by multiple people. So first, the nursery referred to our GP, and then our GP referred to me and my mum to this charity called CAMS. And it was, and it was just like a lengthy process with multiple psychiatrists. So the signs were first spotted at 4 to 5, but I actually didn't get a proper diagnosis until 7. So that was a lengthy process. But yeah, basically, what happened, but if I'm looking to my side a lot, it's because I've got my laptop beside me to keep me on track, because I'm unscripted, I ramble a bit. So if I look to my side a bit,
that's all right, Charlie.
Yeah. So basically, so we referred to multiple psychiatrists, pretty much. But basically, we were 5, 6, 7, basically. But it's not until we got to CAMS, really, where we had 2 main psychiatrists who were really helpful. I hope I remember his name right. The first one, he was called Dr. David Jones, and he was really helpful in evaluating me. And then I think he got replaced with another person called Nadia. And so it was all about like gauging my, evaluating my communication, my social interaction, and recognizing emotions pretty much. So because what they would do is they would get like emoji faces and be like, do you recognize what this emotion is? Do you know what this face is? Yeah, you know, sort of thing. So that was pretty much it, really. And like the thing that talking to my mum about this, it was like one of the very first psychiatrists that we spoke to said that like, oh, Charlie will never drive a car. I can't see him living by himself, being independent. I can't see him doing anything on his own being, you know? So like when you look about 12 years later and I'm in my own house doing policing degree, we were like, oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna butt in a bit. Sorry, I gotta say, I think you're one of the most independent
Yeah,
people I've come across. Fair.
Yeah. So you can
quite a
imagine,
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking to my mum, she would want to like meet her again and be like, hey, remember this person who you said like couldn't you know, do any of this stuff? Well, here we are now. Yeah, it's funny. But basically, yeah, so that was the process of my diagnosis, recognizing the signs, being referred to my GP, and then my going to CAMS, and then seeing all these psychologists and evaluating me on all these things with my interactions, my recognizing emotions, and like literally, my mum has like she's got years worth of paperwork regarding all the seminars and all the stuff and everything. So was a huge undertaking, pretty much. So yeah, when I first got my diagnosis, the next step was, okay, he's been diagnosed. Now, where else do we go from this? And this kind of ties into what I wanted to initially talk about first. So after the diagnosis, like my mum personally didn't have any support offered to her after the diagnosis. So she had to go and look for most of it herself. So she had to go out and look for seminars to attend to, meetings to attend to teach her how to recognize and what to do when I have a sensory overload, how to recognize how I would react when I do, when this situation would happen, when certain thing would happen, going to the supermarket, going to see family and friends, whatever, you know, sort of thing. So eventually she was able to recognize, you know, me enough and my behaviors, and she would provide that to the schools and the charities pretty much, because our main support came from this charity and like the charities in the schools. So one of them was Forest Pulse, which was a charity dedicated to helping parents and children with autism. And so like we would go on trips, I would have youth club, whatever. So like, and then so that's how she learned and more what I did. Well, we as a family came to terms of how to deal with my autism pretty much. So after youth club happened, whilst I was still doing youth club, we would have a school planner, and she would write, my mum would write in the school planner, like, Charlie would react like this in this situation, and the school reacts appropriately, pretty much. But one of the lucky things that happened was when we first moved into one of our new addresses in Lydney, Beauchamp Meadow, was my mum met her neighbour for the first time, Helen, and her son, Jack, who also had autism. Helen was, she was a little bit more experienced, I would say. Like she was dealing with it a bit more. So of course, when my mum moved a few doors down, they just sparked a conversation, whatever, and it just went from there. and Helen was also a trustee for Forest Poles, the charity that I would end up with. And a few years later down the line, my mum would also end up becoming a trustee herself, really. So yeah, that's kind of how it went, really. So I was supported. I would always have like a main TA in primary school, secondary school sort of thing. So going through the education system, I always had like some form of support. But the main thing I really wanted to just like to say was like my mum had to like do most of this herself. She had to find these seminars herself. She had to research all this herself, really. So like no one really came up to her and went, we know this is difficult, but we recommend doing this, or like seeing these people doing this, or using these techniques. You know, she had to learn most of it herself, pretty much. So it was a rough, like, time going uphill like that. So yeah.
Well, she's done an amazing job, Charlie.
Yeah. So
it's real honourable. What, you know, to speak. Obviously, we all would speak, you know, highly of our parents. And I hope the system's changed. From my experience, a little bit different. I feel it has, but I also know that it can be different around different parts of the country. So and we're hoping to get your mum on at some point, right?
Yeah, she said she was happy to, you know, she spoke to me earlier, and she said she was happy to provide for my parents, because I'm only speaking from my experience, but she said she was happy to come on and discuss it from a parent's point of view on what it was like, and the emotions and the struggles going through. So yeah, she would be a nice person to talk to regarding like the process and having a parent's view of it. Yeah.
So something I don't know if you just said it a little bit then, actually, Charlie, but when we were talking before we come on, you know, on air, and you said something is that this, and it was really, what, again, wise words, and I think it can be taken away for anything.
Yeah.
And you pretty much said something like, I'll let you, you know, say it in your own words, but you know, you said this is the problem. And it's about asking.
Oh, yeah. So basically, what I said was on the lines of, you don't just like work around it. There's no cure for it. There's no just ignoring it or whatever and just letting it play out. It's like, this is what we've got. This is the hand we've been dealt. How do we work around it then? How do we move on with what we've got, really? So it's not some case of, oh my God, my child has autism. I'm completely stuck. I don't know what to do. This is, am I a bad parent, or like, is he just a misbehaved child, whatever? It's like, or like, oh my God, my son has autism. I don't know what to do. Just take a step back and just go looking for it, you know, like just learn what to do with with what the situation that you've been dealt with, really.
I think Charlie, that's such wise words. And do you feel that having that experience in, right, this is just with anything now, do you feel you have that attitude anyway to a lot of things, that this is the way it is and this is right, how do I get around this?
Yeah.
I feel do. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Like uni, for example, you know, like exactly. This is the assessment I've been given, like, or even better, like given the whole situation with COVID and all of that, it's like, actually, yeah, I've just got a perfect example. When COVID first started, I was like, okay, instead of going, oh my God, I'm stuck inside, can't do anything. This is going to be a hell. I flipped it around and said, okay, this is a scenario where I can just crack on with uni work now. I've got no distractions, you know. I haven't got any friends to distract me to go out with, and I'm not saying my friends are a distraction, whatever, but it's just
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. The opportunity has been provided to me to catch up with uni work and be as productive as possible. And that was it, really. So yeah, that's the perfect example I can think of, you know.
Hey, and you was on training with me as well.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, that was, yeah. A bit tired, but you got there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I liked about it. It got me out of bed, you know. It like the whole COVID thing and the morning kickboxing classes. It forced me, like I chose to. I could have chosen not to do the morning classes. I could have, you know, I could have chosen to stay in bed until 11 o'clock or whatever. But like, you know, and of course, I think everyone relates to this. But like when you first wake up, you're being cuddled in your nice duvet. You know, you just want to go back to sleep. You can't, you're just like a bit dreary and you just can't be bothered. But like, once you get over that initial process and then like 45 minutes later, you've done like fitness, kickboxing, you feel a bit more better and ready to tackle the day. So that's why I try and force myself more to do the morning classes pretty much.
Yeah.
So like, because that for me, it gets me out of bed and I just feel a bit more better to tackle the day rather than just get up, have breakfast and just be whatever, you know. So that's my own way of doing it.
Do you find like the routine kind of helps?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about overthinking in a minute, but does it kind of help with that as well?
Yeah, exactly. Well, like actually relating to my autism and in a way, yeah, like I used to heavily rely on routine. Like I think any one of my teaching assistants could tell you that if we had a sudden class change or a supply teacher out of nowhere, all of a sudden I would just freak out, like, you know, or like I would just be like, no, I don't like this, you know. So I'm a bit more relaxed with it now, but like having the routine nowadays does kind of help me a little bit of like just getting out of bed and just like automatically going, okay, got this to do, you know, sort of thing, you know. So yeah.
Just thinking about what you've just said about COVID now and that, because I guess, I mean, for a lot of people, that it was a massive change in life. You know, it's changed. It's changed everyone's life. You know? So by the sound of things, I mean, I know when I was doing the classes, I was quite worried about a lot of people because I could see mentally it was taking its toll. But it seems like you've handled it really well, to be fair, Charlie.
Yeah.
Considering that routine shift could have quite dramatically, you should be real proud of yourself. But,
yeah. Well, it's just like either I could have sat there and, well, I could have easily, when the whole lockdown first started, I could have easily just like sat down in my room watching, you know, Netflix and YouTube all day, doing nothing, you know, being slumped on my bed, being unproductive. But instead, I made the active choice to do the morning classes, sit at my desk, get uni work done, do like some circuit, you know, push-ups or like sit-ups, you know, my own little exercise routine, like go for a run, you know, and like, I guess also because what I think pre-lockdown, I was like busy with a lot of things. I had martial arts, salsa, I had uni as well. So like, it was like, I had a lot to do. So when the lockdown happened, I used it as a chance to recenter myself, I think, because I was just going a bit, I was just full on really. So having that break from everyone, I just used it as a chance to just recenter myself, focus on me pretty much. So work on my motivation, my attitude, my self-awareness a little bit. So that's why, you know, I was doing uni work a lot, writing, really just like focusing on me before I was ready. I felt like I was ready to socialize a bit more when things eased up a bit.
Well, I think that's the most important thing, really. Like, we can't start, you know, maybe we'll come on to it a bit, but I know you're quite passionate about, you know, what we're talking about tonight, because of your own experience. And I gotta say, you are really inspiring, Charlie. And I think, you know, well, you got a lot of wise words there. So,
well, it's only because I know a lot of people aren't as lucky as like we did, like as much as, you know, like we eventually managed to like pull it through with the system. But I know that the reason why I'm passionate is because a lot of parents, they don't get support. Like I was doing yesterday to prepare for this interview, I thought to myself, I wonder how many parents actually are offered support or whatever. And I came across this one article and I was just shocked to discover that most parents aren't offered support after their diagnosis. In fact, some parents have to wait for up to like 3 years for even a diagnosis, and it's just shocking, really. Like, many parents say that they feel isolated and helpless as they wait to find out if their child has autism. You know, it's like no one comes up to these parents, and like, I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. I'm just saying there's just a percentage of parents out there where no one comes up to them and goes, this is what we understand what you're going through, but this is what you can do to help yourself in a way, you know. And like some people, there are cases where a child, they'll just go to a supermarket, whatever, and a child will have a sensory overload, and like people just look at the parents and go, can you get your child under control? He's acting out, without realizing the full story behind it.
You know what, Charlie, you've kind of touched a bit of a nerve, and you are so right. I think there needs to be a lot more education on it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot more about autism awareness. And I hear it from some parents that you know, I know, and even my own experiences, to be honest. You know, my eldest, he's not autistic, but some people would often judge him just because he got these hearing aids on and think, you know, oh, he should be, you know, almost tied up. It's like crazy what comes out of people's mouths sometimes. And I think it's fear. I don't know, or fear, they just don't fully understand it. But but actually, listening to you again before coming on air, you had some, again, you made so much sense. It was about, you know, in the workplace.
Oh, you mean my dissertation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So you're writing a dissertation. Yeah. First, say what your dissertation's about.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, for my final year at university, pretty much, I'm doing my dissertation. For people who don't know what dissertation is, it's basically like the biggest assessment as you could possibly do as a student in university. It's like the end-all send-off assessment, really. But the thing about, you can pick any topic you want. So basically, I chose to do the benefits of having autism in the police, and just like discussing the skills that some people with certain disabilities can have and bring to a workplace, like ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, autism. Like people I think people don't realize sometimes is that these disabilities actually inherently improve, like, or give people these skills such as pattern recognition, concentration, focus, coding, programming for computers, just like observation, you know, or like map reading, you know, or like anything really. Like I think I said it to you beforehand. If you just sit back and, well, not sit back, but if you let the child or like the person with autism find out what area of comfort they can grow and develop on, either map reading or organization or something like that, then let them go in that direction and help them. Don't try and force them, because like never force someone like that to go on a path they don't want to do. So let them decide what area they would like to go on, and then help them go on that path, really. So, and that is why I'm doing this dissertation, really, to say like that you can, these people with these learning disabilities can inherently be useful assets if you use these, let them use these skills appropriately, pretty much.
I totally get what you mean. And I guess that skill they bring is actually a much higher level than anyone else, I'd imagine, based on my experience in I think that's amazing. So because it's policing you're studying, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I think that's
so.
I think videos on that, to be honest. I think that's great. I think that's really good advice, because, and again, it needs that education. It needs it from someone maybe like yourself and your mum.
Again, it's just such a shame that not every parent in the world is offered the chance to like have support like that. You know, we just happened to be at the right place at the right time with like my mum meeting her neighbor and like, you know, having the school the way it was, you know, sort of thing. It was like, we just happened to be at the right place at the right time, but not everyone is fortunate enough to have these scenarios and have it like that, you know, like they have to literally learn themselves and literally put up with it, you know, when that shouldn't be the case. You know, they should have the correct support and someone come up to them and teach them how to deal with it like that, you know. So that's why like the passion side is just like grown a little bit more over the past year, I would say, like, because I understand like from my own experience how difficult I used to be, you know. So yeah, just like the more people I can who can through I can help, the better, really. So because like it is a stressful situation, and like again, the child isn't behaving badly. It's just like you just need to allow the situation to grow, and you just need support, really, you know.
Yeah, totally. And you can see how passionate, but the thing is, I think again, I admire you because you're very open about
you
know, the things. I don't mean like Asperges. I think, you know, like things that, you know, maybe our weak strengths, our weaknesses. You're very much like this, and you know, this is how I am now, and this is how I've had to work with it. And as I think we said, was that you're turning. I feel you've turned Asperges and your autism into your
hugely
it's your superpower.
It is. Yeah,
it's like they should write a comic about you. It is just, it's become your superpower.
Again, if we can, I mean, that's a good way to think about it. If we can, you know, get parents and kids to think about that, like this disability is your superpower, rather than, oh my God, this is something that was going to be hard to deal with, whatever. Like, that's a nicer, I like that. You know, if you turn it on its head like that, it embraces positivity a bit more, you know? So, yeah.
Definitely. And I think, I know that, as you said before, that every child, every person's different, and there's, you know, on the spectrum, but but I'm sure, you know, listening and watching this today, people are going to get a lot from it. So we're going to talk. We haven't gone on to the subject what we're going to talk about, really, but
but that is something I wanted to talk about first.
Though. Yeah, definitely. I think it's really, really important. There's some great stuff, and I think for anyone watching this, whether they got, you know, whether they have autism in their family or around them, or just not at all, I think there's a lot for everyone to get out of this anyway. You know, this podcast even. So, like, we talked about overthinking. Now, I'm a terrible overthinker, and
absolutely. I think everyone is an overthinker.
Yeah. So, give us some examples, and then you got. I was quite impressed with the method you got to deal with it. So
so one example, like, oh God, there's too many, but
well, don't overthink them, because
no, exactly, ironic. No, one example could be like if I've already made plans, like to go on a trip or something, and then someone will say like, oh, do you want to meet at this time, whatever, but then that clashes with my trip, and like, because I made that plan first, and then so like, I think it's just generally having to say no to someone when I've already got plans booked, really, because I think what happens in my head is if I say no to someone, then I feel like I'm letting them down, and the analogy I use is like, once that that seed is planted in your head, that little thought right there, it will just sit there and it will just grow and grow and grow until all you can think about is, oh my God, I've let this person down because I said no to them because I had plans beforehand, you know, sort of thing. You know, it's like, that's one of the things I had to learn to deal with sometimes was saying no, because I can't do everything, you know, so like, it's okay to say no to plans. Like if you're already booked and you can rearrange it, you know, sort of thing. Because one of the things that I always struggle with sometimes is like when I get too deeply attached to people and like keeping my friendship with people sometimes. So like when I say no to someone, I'll for the next like few days, all I can help think about is, oh my God, I've let that person down. They don't want to be friends with me. Like they don't want to spend time with me anymore because I said no to them. Oh my God, this is mad, whatever. So that's an example right there, really. And it's just like general stuff, such as when I'm interacting with people, like, was my energy too high? Was I waving my arms too much? Was I speaking too loudly? Was I, or like if I made a joke and the reaction I get, if I feel like isn't worth it, then I'll come away from that, it's just like many things really, or if someone says bye to me in like a flat tone, whatever, I feel like, oh my God, did I upset them? Like, sort of thing. It's like because I've always because I've asserted myself recently, like I think I've just attached myself more and thought about other people too much, like caring a lot about other people. So like if I feel like I let them down, that seriously lowers my demeanor a little bit. So it's just like learning to relax and just like it's okay to say no or whatever. Like this little thing isn't going to break your friendship with someone, So that's right there.
And I said to you before we come on air that in theory, no, it shouldn't. And sometimes we do have to say no. And I think that's how you find out who is a good friend is when you just, no, I can't. And how they react. All right, no worries. Then good friend. If there's like drama about it, oh my gosh, what's happened? Yeah. So no, you got to say no sometimes because
actually,
sorry, bro.
Actually, a good example I've just thought of when I first came to you to like do this mindset explosion when you were doing your class, it was like at the last minute. I was like, for some reason, my brain just like I couldn't get the words out, so I was stood there for half a minute like like words please, and then I walked away from that thinking, oh my God, I just embarrassed myself in front of
Charlie, the crazy thing was I was overthinking it. I was thinking, oh no, I had to really rush him then, and he's trying to talk about this thing. I was like, oh Charlie, we got a minute, I gotta go back to the class. So don't worry about it. And this is the thing. It's like this is how great friendships are. You're probably overthinking the same things. But how share how you deal with it, because I thought this was awesome.
Right. Everyone's different, so it'll work. Different things work for different people, really. So this may not work for everyone, but basically, the thing I found comfort in was writing, really. So if I just so happen to have a thought running through my head at the time, because the thing with overthinking is it stops me from doing productive stuff that I want to do, such as uni work, because I can't do uni work if I'm overthinking about like how I said
can relate to this, Charlie.
how I can't have pizza with someone, because, whatever. Anyway, so that's why I got into writing. Really, if there's a thought in my head, I'll just write it down because into a story format because in my like ideology, that's me taking it out my head and literally ripping it from my head and putting it away, really, I'm not thinking about it anymore. And then also seeing it in a format such as a screen or whatever, if I can actually see what's going on in my head, then that allows me to feel a bit more at ease, really. So over the past few months, especially during the COVID thing, I got to write mini short stories, quite a few, really, because these were just things that I couldn't help but think about. And so I thought if I just write it down, then that's a format, then I can see it and then understand it a bit better and feel a bit better about it, because then that's literally taking it from my head and just putting it on there,
you know what? I'm so proud of you. This is just awesome because, like you said, not everyone's going to want to write maybe short stories.
Yeah.
Some people will.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why things. Sorry, Charlie. It's a couple of things that can take them from that. And I think I said to you beforehand is I think because this has got all this clutter. It all comes up in my head. You're getting it out anyway. But also, so I think that helps. I think that helps exhaust what's going on in our head, even if it's just talking about it somehow. But I think the fact that you've now turned it into a story,
Yeah.
It just goes to show that when something's holding us back, we can totally flip it round.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like that's I totally get you on that. You know, like because I think some people some people don't. I think I was shocked because I think some people will be surprised at how badly overthinking is for your health, because it can affect your hormone system, it can affect your blood pressure and cardio, it can affect your mental health, you know, like all these things. It's like, you know, I was shocked to discover just like how, when I researched it, just how much like overthinking can like affect people like and their well-being, you know.
So do you mean by like it's happening and it's just staying in there? So
yeah.
So you're able to now somehow get it out in the method.
Yeah, exactly. Like, by no means I'm no J.K. Rowling or any other 5-star author, but like,
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, but I just did it for myself because I thought that if I could just get it out my head and write it in a fun story format, if someone who's like, I put like a little superhero twist, whatever, because I'm, you know, like that. But like, if just like getting it out my head, and if someone reads it and they can relate to it, good, you know, sort of thing. Because I didn't just want to write pointless stories. I wanted to write, because whenever I think of like a story that I want to write, I want to think, right, how can I relate it to me and like have it make it have a good meaning, you know, sort of thing. But like, how do I make the message though not forced as well, you know, sort of thing. So like, that's just like little pick-me-up stories, you know, like motivational, inspirational stories that I like to write. Every one of these overthinking thoughts comes into my head.
So you basically, you're overthinking, let's say, is it kind of like, so you're overthinking something, you kind of get that down, but then you kind of work out the outcome in a positive context?
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly. Well, I always try
and... you got to get on this Amazon, you're going to have to publish this.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to write stories that have a bad ending, because like, if you read a story or you watch a movie or a TV show that has a bad ending, that makes you feel like, oh, okay, you know, like I'm all about feel good stuff, you know. Yeah. Like, especially, you know, during the whole COVID thing, it's more important like to remind ourselves, like, you know, we need to feel good and all that, you know. So that's what my stories was about whenever one of these overthinking things came into my head, you know.
But it sounds like it's not just, hey, you know, let's just feel good. It sounds like you're actually finding solutions.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like positive, healthy solutions. And I was going to ask a question and see, my brain's gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so when it's kind of done like that, so let's say you've kind of worked that solution out for whatever it is you're thinking about. Are you able to then kind of relate that back to yourself in some sense? Yeah.
Well, it always relates back to me anyway, because it comes from this thought that comes into, or like this thing that happened, and that drags me down, whatever. So like, all these stories that I write are kind of like me in a way, like, you know, so, but like, this is something that I've experienced that I'm trying to put a positive spin on in a story format, so that if someone else reads it, they can relate to it, you know, sort of thing. So, you know, I'll look back on it and I'll go, yeah, when it's eventually written, when I've written it 10 times, I'll look back and I'll go, yeah, I'm hoping someone one day, you know, but can relate to it, you know. So it does relate back to me in a way, because of something that I will stupidly think about, or like something that is just I'm thinking down about, you know. Yeah.
I'm so impressed. Charlie, I've got so much from tonight, me personally. So anyone else watching, drop some comments below. And who wants to see Charlie's book? Yes, please.
Well, books. Because
books. All right, even better. Yeah, I like that.
I didn't just write one. I wrote like a whole bunch of mini short stories on a whole bunch of stuff, you know, like, because once I started writing one story, another idea comes into my head, and another idea comes into my head, and I'm thinking, well, okay, I don't want to cram like 10 ideas worth of stuff into one thing, because otherwise that spoils it a bit. So that's why I set aside one idea for each story, really. So I wrote a few, really.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're probably going to finish up there, but look, thanks so much, Charlie. I think.
Can I offer one small little bit of advice that I quickly?
Do it.
Basically, something that I've done in the past is I talked about before is over apologizing over small stuff and rambling on. Like it sounds, some might think of it as a bit crazy, but like when you're overthinking those sometimes and over this small thing that happens, what that happens that I've done in the past, whatever, I'll sometimes go on about 5 minutes on a massive tangent, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean this because this, and people have to go to me, Charlie, it's okay, it's fine, like, this isn't gonna change much. So that's another thing that I wanted to say very quickly, like, it's good to be aware, you know, of what happens, but just don't go dragging yourself down too much about it and over apologizing for it, you know, because it's very important like that. So yeah, don't go. So it's good to be aware, but just don't over apologize for it. That's what I wanted to say, really.
Yeah, well, I think you got a heart of gold, Charlie.
I try to.
I think you got. Obviously, the friends that are around you, very lucky to have you there. I think.
Hugely.
Yeah, you got a lot to offer, buddy. So, no, it is great advice. I think we've all. I used to do it a lot, really, over apologizing. And the thing is, just it's just because you're a good person, and so you're trying to please everyone, which you can't do, and I genuinely feel you just want the best for everyone that's around you. But just keep being you, mate, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm gonna get you back. I think we'll have a chat with you and your mum next time.
I think she has said she would like to come on at some point to discuss from a parent's point of view. You know, so she would love to discuss with you. She's a really good person and a good source of information for, like, from a parent's view of what it's like to raise someone with autism. And I'd love to be back as well.
She's done a good job. But so have you. It's, but like you said, I think everything's a team effort, and it is understanding what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. And like you said, really, any clutter that's going on in our head, just got to get it out. You just start talking to someone. You generally feel different about it afterwards, to be fair, don't you?
It's always better out than in, like Shrek would say. But it doesn't have to be writing. Like, listen to your favorite music, watch your favorite show, because if writing doesn't work, I watch motivational like videos or whatever, you know, like I'll watch my favorite animes, you know, with some of my favorite anime characters I'm inspired to, because it's true, I watch a lot of anime and characters that I aspire to that really picks me up sometimes, you know. So it's whatever works for you, or like exercising, going for a run, whatever helps clear those thoughts out of your head, then that you think works for you, that's what it is. So writing, music, watching your favorite TV show, running, exercise, whatever works for you is all I'll say.
Brilliant. I think you should start your own podcast, you know. I'm not joking. I really think you should. I think you've got a lot to offer. All right. We're gonna finish up, everyone. I'll speak to you in a bit, Charlie. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please, if you've got any questions for Charlie, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer, or reach out. Just drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channels, and I'll keep you updated with other stuff I got going on. Next week, I think I'm talking about men's mental health, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
See you next Sunday, everyone else. All right. Bye. Peace.
See you.
Love.